Today, we're looking at how you can reboot your money by not focusing on the finances. Welcome to the Couple Money Podcast, where we talk about how spouses can get on the same page, pay down their debt faster, and get on the path to financial freedom. I'm your host, Elle Martinez. Today's episode is brought to you by the free course 5 Days to 5K. Many couples I talk to know what they should be doing, right? Pay down that debt, save money for emergencies or whatever goal they have. The tricky part though is, where do you find the money for those goals? 5 Days to 5K is a free email-based course that helps you find, save, and earn extra money on the side so you can reach your goals faster. If you're interested, you can sign up at couplemoney.com/5K. It's October. Wow. Okay, so the year is kind of reaching that tail end, and for many, it's a busy season. Do you have any plans coming up? I know for us this month, we are going to visit some friends and family in Virginia, and we're definitely looking forward to it. But as we're winding down this year, it's also a good time to start reflecting and reviewing how things have been going. So, how are you doing with your goals? If you're behind on them, it's okay. There's still plenty of time for you to reset and reboot things. And to make things easier, I'm going to do a mini series on the podcast this month. Each week, we're going to be tackling some of the big hurdles you might be having with your goals. Something I see a lot when people are behind is losing that momentum and the motivation. Let's be honest. If you're dealing with something big, like trying to become debt-free, you could be in it for a while depending on how much debt you have now. So how can you not only keep making progress on that, but actually enjoy yourself? Have some fun. Something that's been helpful for us and other couples in the community is learning to reframe your goals. Some of us are naturally just drawn to having financial goals with numbers that we can track, but that's not everyone. Maybe you can still have the same goals, but reframe it and pivot it enough that you find that motivation to continue on. And so today, Karen Cordaway is here to talk about how. She's the author of the book, The Everyday Bucket List, which if you subscribe to the newsletter, you'll remember it's one of those 3 books I recommended this summer. It's still a fantastic read, and actually now I highly recommend it as we're wrapping up the year because I want to make sure that you're hitting your goals for the year. In this episode, we're going to discuss how to move away from making financial goals to more holistic ones, how you can create a bucket list that fits your season of life now, and tools to make it easier to incorporate more fun into your routine. Let's get started. I know a lot of couples, we talk about, of course, personal finance and saving up for things, but it's really not about the money, Karen. It's about goals. You know, we want to have a fun life. We want to go after like these adventures in our lives, but a tough part of it is like, how do you fit it in? Especially for us, we're parents of 2 little girls. And so we feel like we're trying to do so many different things, but your book covers this exactly step by step, how families really can come together, come up with a plan, and go on some adventures. And I was kind of curious, Karen, how did you come up with this concept for the book?
Well, I was tired of seeing people on Instagram jumping out of planes and, doing all these things that when you have kids, you can't really do that, or it's hard to fit something like that in. Like many times you get babysitting last minute, you have a couple hours. So if you can come up with things to do locally, or you could fit within that free time that you do have, or any time that you can plan, not that you can never go skydiving or anything like that, but I just wanted to do things more often. And I didn't want to always have to wait for summer vacation or wait for the kids to get off of school or just to do date nights with my husband. I didn't want to do the same things all the time. Mm-hmm. So I thought of it as like bucket listing for the rest of us, or bucket listing for parents or people. And It's also for different phases of life. Like I say, you just shouldn't have to wait until you retire to have all this fun. And that's pretty much how I came up with the idea.
Yeah. And what I like about this is, for many of us that are busy, you have a system, there's a process, people can work this out, and you actually use the word bucket as part of that process. Can you kind of go over what you mean when you say, creating your bucket list using the bucket system?
Sure. So B is the first letter, and it's be on the lookout. Now, if you're super busy, it's very hard to plan and know what to come up with when you do have time. That's the dilemma we ran into. So if you use technology to your advantage, you can be notified for anything today. I have the Bands in Town app, so I just plug in all the different people I want to see, and even related people will pop up, related bands or singers. So it comes to me. And I also take advantage of Google alerts, anything that can be sent to me, even on Facebook. There's so many different groups you could join or different area events that can come to you. So it takes a lot of the work out of it. And then you just decide, can I go? Can we fit this in? And some of it too is when you have that time, be on the lookout too for me. I like to find things that I could do at any time. So if I would get a random hour, if my kid was in a class, or if both your kids end up on a play date at the same time, that was like golden for us. We're like, what are we going to do? I don't know. You don't want to go to the same place. Yeah. But if you do end up at the same place, I also encourage people just try something new at that place. Go through the whole menu, try a different dessert, a different flavor, something. But there's always something. So that's where I say be on the lookout, because opportunities are all around you.
Fantastic. And so like when couples are going through this process and everything, they're, like you mentioning, taking the time they do have with one of the goals that they've created using your bucket system and fitting that in. I'm curious, what have you done incorporating the everyday bucket list in your life?
Oh, wow. See, I have done this thing where I pick a theme to take all of the research out of it. So my husband and I have been saying for years that we want to go biking. I would see all the different people like Mr. Money Mustache, you're a biker.
Yeah.
And I don't know why we just never did it. Or maybe we would do it if we were in another city and went biking for a day. But we really wanted our own bikes, and something else would just come up, something I would have to buy for the kids, or we just didn't make it a priority. So now, like, we're going to bike all summer, and that's something that's like built into the schedule. Like
nice.
Every weekend. So we're going to pick a different place to bike in our state. So that's an example, but I have tons of them. It just depends how much you want to hear.
No, I like that, because like biking for me, yes, there's definitely health benefits. But it's also just fun to do with the girls, and we don't bike very far. We have a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old. So, around the neighborhood, but that's something that you can mix it up rather than just, I do like a good Netflix binge every once in a while, but, actually doing something as a family. So I know a lot of people are thinking, know what, this would be great if we can incorporate this into our routine. So Karen, where can they get your book?
They can get my book on Amazon. It's the Everyday Bucket List book. It's on Kindle, and you could get it in paperback.
Special thanks to Karen for being a part of this episode. You definitely want to grab her book, The Everyday Bucket List. I'll have links in the show notes so that you can learn more, grab a copy, and knock out a goal that you've been thinking about before this year wraps up. And continuing this little mini series about rebooting your money, we're going to be talking about next week creating goals that actually work for you. Everyone has a theory about how to be productive and how to make the most of your goals, but I want you to get results. So Joseph Hogue is going to be on the podcast to share his take and thoughts on how to do that. So if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed. You don't want to miss out on that episode. We're on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, you name it. Wherever you like to grab your podcast, you should be able to find the episodes. Our theme song today was written and performed by Gentle Regime. Additional music by Lee Rosevere. And finally, and most importantly, thank you so much for your support. I appreciate it. And thank you for leaving the reviews and sharing your favorite episodes with your friends. I'd love to keep the conversation going about how couples can work together on their finances instead of fighting over it. I hope you have a wonderful week. Take care.